Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with Good Morning Portugal show, the live stream, the podcast, the Portugal Club. Will pop over there as well this morning. A nice, easy one for a Feelgood Friday here on the 27th. Well, the last utility day of February, basically. Nearly March. It'll be March next time I speak to you. It'll be next month, next week. Yeah, that's flown by, hasn't it? The 4 weeks of February. That's the bad news in a sense. Time is flying by. Slipping through our hands, but it is taking us closer to spring, I hope. Good morning to you, Jackie, Peter, Sarah, Marcus, and Helen so far this morning. Yeah, for a nice, easygoing Feel-Good Friday. No Claire. No fantastic 50s Claire. A little bit compromised by circumstances, post-storm circumstances, which I hope will sort out soon enough for you. Well, it's long overdue, really. It's taking far too long to get you back to the level to which you are accustomed, Claire. So all the best with your infrastructural repairs, improvements. And Christopher, we'll speak to Christopher Kirby-Higgs on another occasion, the dashing man of the track and of real estate in Cascais. If you do need to get in touch with Christopher, he's easy to find on the internet, but if you're hoping to see him and you want to be put in touch with him, let me know. And I can take care of that for you. We'll see Christopher and Claire on another occasion. News just in. Insurance claims from Kristen now rise to 140,000. Yeah, we were talking about rising premiums on the Premium Lounge last night. Yeah, two uses of the word premium there. Morning, Mike and Adrian and Ian, just joining us this morning. Yeah, there's going to be an inevitable rise. Madalena from Winsurance made a very good point, though. It's dangerous just shopping on price. Let's face it, the premiums are going to go up, aren't they? This is going to be a hugely costly exercise in repairing, and the claims will be significant. The premiums will go up, but make sure when you are renewing that you are still getting the sort of coverage you want. If you keep paying the same amount year after year, if the money stays the same, the coverage will probably be changing. So I expect some premium rises at renewal. They won't be put up. If you've just renewed, that's good news. They won't be put up until it's renewal time, which is the way it works with insurance. I think probably in most countries, certainly in Portugal. So, yeah, a good session last night in the Premium Lounge. One of the things we'll talk about this morning is the solar eclipse. I think we have covered this, but what a lovely idea to travel up to Bragança, where it will be most obvious. Bragança is a good spot to find a place to stay or visit for the day or thereabouts. There should be a good view of the solar eclipse in August. We'll talk more about that. Marcelo, in a picture, you'll see from the thumbnail, much like the pictures I'd never heard of. I didn't know anything about the Portuguese president 10 years ago and 8 years ago when I arrived. And there were pictures of this man on the TV taking selfies with an often adoring and surprised and comforted public. This was at the time of the 2017 fires. He's still at it with the selfies. He's still a man of the people, it would seem, and popular among many. And there's a little bit of news from him. We'll be talking about the hard news with Natasha at around 9:30 this morning, if you want to join us for that conversation as well. But a nice piece from Natasha about Marcelo. That's it. No more political commentary from me. Some might say a cop-out, but he's handing over to Seguro, who we also talked about on the Premium Lounge last night. Actually, I've got some facts and figures. I've got a bit of a primer for you on that man who is described as a bon garfo, a good fork. Do you know what that means? Do you know that idiom, that's a colloquialism of being a good fork means, on bon garfo? What does that mean in Portuguese culture? That's what he's described as, Senor Seguro, who is handing over, or is having the job and the role and the palace keys handed over to him as we speak. About a week from now, I think it's the 9th of March, he'll step officially into the position, but there's a transition going on at the moment. Marcelo spotted at the Better Tourism Lisbon event yesterday, which we'll also talk about, which I don't think I have ever talked about. I have been invited to it. It's a massive tourism show that we're in the middle of. I think Gilda's popping in over there friends from San Martino de Porto often go as part of the conference display exhibition team from San Martino de Porto. It's a big deal. Better Tourism, the Lisbon Travel Market 2026 is on at the moment and goes through until Marital the 1st, it says on, on my screen here, translating Março as Marital. So Marital, March the 1st. It's been going since a couple of days ago, probably the professionals only part of the exhibition, and now opening to the public. I believe probably that's the way it's working. It is open, expecting 82,000 visitors, 1,600 exhibitors, 600 events, showcasing 100 international destinations. We'll find out more about that. And that's where the president was spotted yesterday talking about how he's going to be stepping back from political commentary. Thank you very much, Neil, for yours. Should we have a little look at a life in Portugal? Lovely reel from Neil. A reel from Neil. Who doesn't like Health on the Shelf? Reel from Neil. Good morning to you, Neil, this morning. I don't know if you're tuned in yet, but thank you for sharing this. I'm going to try and get it a little bigger on the screen so we can see what's going on. Let's wind it back to the beginning. I'm not going to play the music just in case I get another strike on YouTube. But here we go. Lavaduros com alma. Is this washing with soul? Laundry with soul? That sounds like a after enlightenment, or before enlightenment, wash the clothes. After enlightenment, wash the clothes. The lavadura. Was that Neil there? Music in central Portugal around Goiás, I think, this little village. Looks fantastic. Singing, dancing, and washing. Washing your smalls. And is there a sort of a soul washing, soul rinsing metaphor as well? Got to be food included, hasn't there, at a festival intercultural, well, any kind of festival, and sponsored by EDP, it looks like, as well. Let's see that again. That was over all too quickly, quite frankly. There you go. A bar soap. Take your smalls over to the public wash space, and you can see those all over Portugal still, can't you? The public lavanderias. Wine, yeah, got to be a bit of wine drunk. A bit of painting, doing up the village as well. getting into your traditional garb. Get the guitar out, singing and dancing. That's lovely. Lavaduros com alma. And that dance move, yes, the lovely traditional folk dancing of Portugal right there as well. What a lovely day out. And look at that weather. It's on its way, folks. It's on its way. It is. Thank you, Neil, for that. Superb. Brilliant stuff. Deagle, you still in the country? Lovely to see you. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers. How's it going? Mel's popped in since we opened up for business this morning. And Gemini, good morning to you. We'll come back to all of your comments in full in due course. And yeah, going to Lisbon for the Better Tourism Lisbon, seeing what Marcelo had to say. And anything else you want to share about your plans this weekend? I'm working tomorrow, Saturday. Oh, I've got a new gig in San Martino de Porto, which I also want to tell you about. You might like to replicate the idea in your village. Some music news as well. Katie Tunstall, remember her? She's on her way to Lisbon with an artist, teaming up with an artist I haven't heard of before. Oh, talking of events, they're going to do a comedy night at the Storytellers Palace. Did I mention this before? Do you know of a bilingual comedian, a stand-up, who can do Portuguese and English material? The only person I know who could have done that, if it had he still lived in the country, or if he was still living in the country, would be Tamakatan. He learned Portuguese specifically to deliver a stand-up routine and was doing all sorts of great comedy work here in Lisbon. But then he buggered off to Berlin and left us here. I think we got the better deal, actually. But anyway, I don't suppose, unless if he's touring, he would do that, I'm sure. But we're looking for an English-speaking, Portuguese-speaking, bilingual stand-up comedian to do a comedy night, and also talk of a singles night. That came up whilst we were chatting with Miguel at Storytellers. They're also thinking now, thanks to some of my guests at the event on Wednesday, of doing a singles night. 15 fellas, 15 ladies. Sounds very hetero, doesn't it? A hetero dating night. Although I guess there could be all sorts of combinations in the mix there. But that sounds like a straight, no pun intended, straightforward hetero lineup of 15. Sounds like a rugby match as well, doesn't it? 15 versus 15. Hopefully not versus. Hopefully love. Rooms are available, but maybe it's a bit too quick for that. But a singles night certainly at the Storytellers Palace. Coming up, if you want me to put you in touch with the storytellers about each of those, you can rely on me for some discretion in the matter. Why not go dressed as a sheep? One of the enduring images of the Good Morning Portugal show, people dressed as sheep from Central Portugal. Okay, so stand-up comedian who can speak English and Portuguese, and a possible singles night. And don't forget to come along last Wednesdays. It was great. I really enjoyed my black cod. Not my black cod piece. That's a different event. But your black cod, beautiful food and lovely company last Wednesday. That's the last Wednesday of every month at the Storytellers Palace. Always a good moment. Incoming messages from Peter. What, Peter? What now? And where's Matty? It's funny. I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I better get online. Otherwise, we'll have Matty complaining. Where is he? He's not even here this morning. And I want to bring your attention, if I may, to a couple of podcasting phenomena. I'm involved in a range of podcasts, and I want to bring your attention to my work with Dr. John Briffer. Got a few episodes under our belt. I mentioned Natasha Don, a lovely collection of podcasts over at the Portugal Resident now as well, and a whole load of new speakers lined up to chat for the Portugal Resident. And I've reached out to Bonnie Tyler's team as well. I'd love some big names with a Portuguese connection to speak to as well. So someone coming to Portugal, someone who loves Portugal, doesn't have to live here, but has a strong connection. And that American ambassador, he's been quiet, hasn't he? The fella on the right of the picture here, that's the new American ambassador. I'd love to chat to him on the Resident podcast. If you can give me a connection to John Arrigo, that would be great. The new American ambassador to Portugal as well. Okay, how you doing this morning? What you got planned for the weekend? Do let me know in the chat. Something else I want to let you know about this morning is, we're going to be talking about music variously and occasionally throughout the show this morning on this easygoing Feelgood Friday edition for the last working day of February. Payday for a lot of people. It's Celtic Sounds of the Tejo. Who's behind this, do you think? Margin Sul, the Tejo, down near Lisbon, Irish vibes, French, Spanish, up to Ireland. Who could this be? We've got to include Wales in there, of course, as well. Why? It's Bobby O'Reilly, of course, with an amazing idea coming in from the Atlantic, left field, or from the West. We are building a new community to share and celebrate our Celtic heritage right here in Seychelles, which is getting confused, I have to say, with the Seychelles. Be careful. If your partner, friend, has said, we're off to Seychelles, don't think that they've booked you a lovely luxury trip to the Seychelles. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with Seychelles. It's not quite the Seychelles, though. So I think there's going to be more of that sort of confusion coming up, maybe at the Better Tourism show in Lisbon. Seychelles, not Seychelles. We'd love to hear from anyone who feels a connection to Celtic culture, who at some time in their life doesn't, quite honestly. And definitely within Portuguese music, there are great artists, aren't there, with a Celtic vibe. Through family, music, dance, language, history, or simple curiosity, who would like to be part of shaping this journey with us? If you'd like to if you are one of those people and you'd like to be part of that journey, do get in touch with Bobby O'Reilly, that is, and I can put you in touch with him. Over the coming months, we plan to develop regular meetups, cultural events, music nights, and family-friendly gatherings that bring the Celtic spirit to the Tagus waterfront. I think this is going to be great fun, is it not? Please be patient with us as we work through the practical steps and let us know your interest. Well, we're accustomed to being patient here in Portugal. Ideas or offers to help so we can make this community truly alive and inclusive. So Portuguese, Celtic, food, vibes, drink, music. It's going to be great, isn't it? A Portuguese love a party, the Irish love a party. What could possibly go wrong? It's going to be amazing. I'm just reminded, actually, a bit of a flashback there about things possibly going wrong. I did want to have a bit of a debrief with you, and this is quite the pivot. But just to conclude on that, Celtic Sounds of the Tejo, get in touch with Bobby if you do have anything of a Celtic nature, Celtic cultural nature that you want to bring to that party, get in touch with Bobby and I can put you in touch with him. Late last night, I wonder if I may, for a moment, just share with you something really bizarre that happened when I was out walking the big dog last night. Little Peggy, sometimes she just doesn't want to go out late at night anymore. And it's just me and Big Jim who go out for a walk. And there we were. I go on a slightly different route when I'm with the big fella as well. And we were walking on a circular route, halfway through, walking back towards home, fairly quiet, as you might expect, around midnight last night. Nice and peaceful, fresh air with the dog. He's having a sniff about. And then I hear this godforsaken, chilling sound over, well, up the hill in the darkness. I hear a demonic scraping sound, and then the bashing of what sounds like a huge metal gate. Now, this isn't far from a campsite where building work often takes place. I thought maybe the breeze had caught a metal gate and smashed the gate against, its gate posts, causing a very loud metallic reverberation through the night air. And then I heard shouting and a bit of distress after that. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe someone's shouting at someone for being too noisy. Excuse me. I'm getting these involuntary bursts of the most embarrassing one I told you about yesterday, but that involved wine and water and a fine mist in the air as a result. Sorry for that involuntary and other involuntary coughs, but there I am with Jim in the night, hearing this terrible scraping sound. And so I pick up the pace and make my way towards this event. First of all, you're thinking, okay, is it a situation where people are just having a bit of a shout and it's going to blow over? Or do I go carry on about my business? And it seemed that it might need a quick once over to make sure that if things were okay and nobody was hurt. And it just sounded pretty tense, and the atmosphere in the night air changed for sure. And as I made my way with a sort of steady jog towards this scenario, I could see a car. I could see two car headlights and a group of people, youngsters. It looked like teenagers, on phones and in various states of distress. Another car stopped, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to phone the emergency services straight away and get the cops here and the bomberos in case anyone's hurt. Better safe than sorry. And it's really weird. 112, I remembered that's hardwired in, and I'm ringing 112 and I'm saying, pode ser falar English. It's going to be easier for me if I can speak to you in English to get the job done here. And the guy was brilliant. He said, yeah, go ahead. And I was getting quite breathless and stressed, making an emergency call. I had to sort of get a grip on myself in this unfolding situation. And it turns out that this scraping and bashing of metal was the car flipping. As I got nearer, I could see that what looked like maybe scooter lights. I thought a couple of kids had come off their scooters, although, I mean, how they could have made that noise with scooters didn't add up. And the reason the two lights that I could see were on the ground was because the car had flipped over and the kids had got out, and it appeared that they were, by this point the police were on their way. And it appeared that that everyone was okay, and I checked that out with another guy standing in the street, and he's like, "Oh no, it's fine. They're okay. They just lost control of the vehicle. No one's badly hurt." Like, as though that sort of happens on a fairly regular basis, which in his experience might have been. And I knew these guys' faces. I knew that these sort of trustworthy. I trusted their judgment, but and knowing that the police were on the way as well. But and then I thought to myself, it's pointless me getting involved here, as in going. I did first aid and this sort of stuff back in the UK. If I try and wade in and do first aid or assess the situation with not the best Portuguese, it's going to make things worse. So I assessed that the situation was okay and that the police were on their way. But I just wanted to make sure they were, and thought, okay, well, I need to ring back to the emergency services. Another call to 112. Can I just confirm the police are on their way? Yes, we've got your location. The police are on their way. So that was very reassuring. And it seemed like it was, notwithstanding a car flipping over and a bunch of teenagers looking pretty stressed and shocked by the situation, it didn't look like there was anything terribly serious or no terrible injuries or fatalities at this scene, thank goodness. And as I walked away, I thought that was the best thing to do, having alerted the emergency services, let them get on with it. The bomberos, came around the corner. I was able to point them in the right direction. But yeah, I was not expecting to have a car full of teenagers flip over on a route where I walk. I'm walking this cycle pedestrian path. And we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? We were having a bit of a giggle, I think, about some Portuguese driving styles and the driving culture here. And Mel, you were talking about, how unsafe it can be for pedestrians. And this clearly, this is one of those pink pavements where it's multi-use. You've got the road, and then you've got the European-funded cycle path. We know there are European-funded psychopaths, but I'm talking about a European-funded cycle path. One of the pink ones that's pedestrians, scooters, cyclists who are made safe from the main road, not main road, the road itself to their side, by maybe a foot high curb, an upstand. And that's not enough, I discovered last night, to withhold a crazy bunch of teenagers coming around a bend to too high a speed. And it basically took the car, by the look of the situation, they either rode it from a breaking it like a skateboarding ollie. Is it called an ollie or a grind along this up curb? Or they hit it with their wheels and flipped over. And that's what the terrible sound was that I heard, this devilish sound in the night air. Yeah, came home and it took a while to relax and get to sleep. I can tell you last night. I imagine you've got one or two things to say in the chat about driving style. Oh no, God, it was. I was more shocked afterwards. I guess that's how it works, isn't it? With adrenaline, and you've got something to do and you do it, and then it's only afterwards that oh, God, what was that all about? A few deep breaths. No, Peter, really, no. If I start a little anecdote about cars and a night out walking with the dog, it never ends like that, I can assure you. A quick once over, making sure no one was hurt as he headed towards the foggy windows. Peter, Mondia Gumpers, we finally getting a vehicle today after 6 months of looking for something. Oh, well done. Yeah, we talked last night. Does anyone want to buy a year-old Tesla? We had somebody on our call last night who's relocating, and they're selling a year-old Tesla, which I think when they bought it was about 44 grand. Anybody looking for one of those a year old, let me know. I can put you in touch with that person. Yeah, it was terrifying. Peter, the secrets of Portugal. We can rely on you for bringing us back to down to earth with a bit of dark humor, Peter. Sometimes inappropriate humor. The secrets of Portuguese car flipping, perhaps. It was a learner driver practicing for their test. Too soon, Pete, too soon. Having to ring in Portugal in such a challenge with crappy Portuguese, I've never found one that speaks English in 4 to 6 times I've had to go. Really? I had 2 in quick succession who were superb. And I realized, there's me thinking, I'm ringing the local police station, rather quaintly, Dixon of Dock Green style. And of course, it's a national number, isn't it? I mean, these people are probably in Lisbon or in a call center, maybe centrally, Leiria or somewhere like that. They're not going to, they weren't down the road. And me saying, the funniest thing about this in a way is like, I'm on Rua Vasco da Gama. Right. Well, there are only 80,000 of those in Portugal. Which one is it? Would you like to be more? Rua Principal. I'm on the Rua Principal. Please come. Okay. Breathe. Slow down. We're going to have to be a bit more specific about this. Rua Vasco da Gama, probably the second most popular road name after Rua Principal here in Portugal. But they were great, I have to say, Mel. I was lucky. I fortunate to get. I'd have had it. Of course, I'd have had a go. I'd have found the way to say it in Portuguese. but I started asking if I could speak in English in Portuguese, and the way we went. So yeah, it was pretty grim. Going out for my wind down ordinarily, calming, quietening walk with the dog, and this terrible sound and a bashing, which I thought was a gate. It's a car flipping over. It's a sound of metal hitting gravel. Terrible. And I hope those youngsters are okay and a lesson learned. It's one of those things of childhood. It reminds me of some guys I used to know who I think must have been in a very similar situation up in Yorkshire. When I didn't know them then. I knew them as grown-ups. Not that they'd grown up ever that much. Oh, Neil, we've played your video this morning. But these guys, I think it often involves borrowing a parent's car, doesn't it? These anecdotes, these terrible stories. And these two, at least two, no, maybe I think it was 4 lads in the car. That's often the way as well, isn't it? Pack the car full of mates. And they lost control of this car. This would have been this is probably 40, 50 years ago. And they they ended up going into someone's front garden and not stopping there into a bay window, only to see the surprised faces of an elderly couple having a quiet evening watching the television. Can you imagine having a terrifying smashing of your bay window in suburban Yorkshire, only to look up to see 5 lads in a car, probably saying, "Sorry about that. It's my mum's car. I'm not used to it. I've only just passed my test." But these rascals last night, I hope they're okay. Might have a few bruises, cut some bruises, and their seatbelts presumably saved them. And a lesson learned, I hope. Okay, let's go to your comments, and then we'll talk more about Marcelo and the solar eclipse a bit more. And this, no, Cat, get down. We can't have you up here. Go away. Insistent little so and so, wanting to jump right up on the desk here. Look, that's it. Go and curl up over there. Jackie was in first this morning, 7:31. Oh, I want to tell you about the new quiz that's happening in San Martin de Porto as well. Morning, Jackie. How you doing? How is life on the river there? As Pete is asking. Bon dia to you, Sarah. And Marcus, good morning to you. Bon dia. Helen, igualmente. Bon dia to you too. Coach Turner, bom dia, campos e feliz sexta. Putting the sex into sexta-feira, our favourite day of the week for us. Childish, immature people. How are we all today? Rather overindulged yesterday. Very good. So a little slow today, but all good. Stay safe out there. Yeah, absolutely, Coach. What did you eat? Somewhere nice up London? Insurance claims we heard from Adrian earlier on, 140,000. It's a lot of work to get through, isn't it? It's going to be very challenging. And it's what a situation. If we've got time, we'll come back to those facts and figures about the president as well. What a time for him to come into his role, or a new man in that role, and what a time it is for him to come into taking care of the country as the father figure, the grandfather figure of the country. Post-storm and in the stormy political environment as well. Morning, Mike. Bon dia, everyone from Mike. Hope it was a nice meal there, Ian. Rather optimistically, we have the pool all cleaned. Oh, so all in time for the sandstorm. Well done, Pete. Tip-top condition. Just got to channel the inner Wim Hof. Wim or Vim? Vim. Shall I go for... No, I'm going to go for Wim Hof. Because a lot of people do jump into cold baths on a whim. Many regretting it, others becoming converts, and it's the latest thing you've got to try. And I will be talking to Dr. John Briffer about this. Among the many things we've talked about over the last few weeks, these chats about health and well-being on the Life Support podcast include all sorts of subjects, and cold plunging will be one of them. We looked at seed oils, snoring, and systems, life organization systems, blue blockers, rebounding, and coffee in episode 3. The pilot's quite good. Grounding came up in that. You can see the guy in the tinfoil hat there. Is it tinfoil hat stuff, or is there some benefit there? Milk, we talked about milk, self-regulation, and sleep, and red light therapy, hydration, and feet. I don't even remember some of these conversations. Taking offense, the Zeigarnik effect, and salt pipes, and most recently, acid versus alkali. I made it sound like a Portuguese village for a moment there. And the terrain, whether an acidic or alkaline, that terrain theory, whether there's anything in that. Little of what you fancy does you good. And people pleasing, we talked about last time. That is, if you search Life Support Briffer, actually, I think I can I can put the link to it into the chat for you. We could do with a few more subscribers over there. Another video dropping at lunchtime today on the Life Support Podcast with me and my old mate, Dr. John Briffer, both of us living here in Portugal. He's down in the south, in the Algarve. And funny thing is, we haven't met in real life. We've been here for years. We're old mates from UK, and we haven't met yet over here in Portugal. Check it out, as well as the Portugal Resident Podcast, if you wouldn't mind. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If I can ask your forbearance in this matter. Daisy Sampson last week, Jeremy College yesterday, and a weekly news review with Natasha, who's always very outspoken, speaks her mind, and good value, good fun, and right to the point. We're chatting to her in about an hour's time on this screen. So that's also in the chat there. If you wouldn't mind subscribing to those two, I would be very grateful. And loads of new speakers lined up for the Portugal Resident Podcast. Some big hitters heading this way for that particular podcast. I'll be talking to David at Safe Communities Portugal soon as well, but reacquainted with him now. Right, where did we get to? A bom dia alegria a todos from João Ernesto. Nice, easy-going one this morning. Claire and Chris can't be with us, but we're hanging out. We're hanging out and having a nice, easy start to a bon fin semana. The issues with eclipses, aside from the orange one staring at them, is one bit of cloud can spoil the whole event, like a fart in a lift. Well, I think that's a metaphor we can all relate to. The orange one staring at them. I don't know if that's a reference to the sun, Donald Trump, or what. But I mean, surely we wouldn't be put off looking at an eclipse because of someone we do or don't like looking at the eclipse. That's a very extreme boycott. I'm sure that's not what you mean. Mel, I've started seeing more prices creep in Portugal. Never let a disaster go to waste, right? When it comes to economics or the economy. 450 grams of mince rather than 500. A little bit of, what's it called when they mess around with the size of something? No sniggering at the back. To tamper, or not tamper, but to alter, to modify the price, basically to give you less value. 200 to 220 gram coffee versus 250. Yeah, keeping the price the same, but lowering the amount. In economic psychology, their consumer psychology. Have great sympathy with Capricorn Chris after our trip into town yesterday. Piccadilly line. We do have a Piccadilly line in London, don't we? Isn't that great? And I've got a tube map still. I'm ashamed to say I took it out of a tube train as a youth. Gosh, so many stories this morning of crazy youths. In the 80s, when you could wear a long greatcoat, Echo and the Bunnyman style, it was good for borrowing the posters out of the tube trains and stuff when they were printed on cardboard and stuff them down your overcoat. And I've still got one of them, a tube map, which must be worth a fortune now as a bit of ephemera, designed by, was he Edward or Edwin Johnston or Johnson, who did the typeface for the iconic tube map. Have a great sympathy with Chris then. Piccadilly line has severe delays, so consequently absolutely heaving. I'm gonna have to have a sip of tea here, but you had a great time nonetheless. Yeah, but public transport in the UK, right, or in London. Bon dia todos from Mel and Coach. At least you have empathy with sardines, Portuguese sardines as well. Good morning, everyone from Gemini. Yes, Pete. Even the smell of the oil. Yikes! Yes, that we know. Chris, is Chris here this morning? A good place to eat. Bon garfo. There you go. A good place to eat, a good fork, literally. I've eaten at a restaurant called O Bom Garfo, good caseiro food. Yeah, I think it means kind of likes food as well. It's a bit sort of Portuguese gourmet, not pretentious, but Bom Garfo is like, yeah, good grub, good grub. And I think maybe it can be applied to a person as well. If they're a Bom Garfo, they like their food. A euphemism, which, of course... Bit of a bloater, is it fair to say? I don't know. If you're a bon garfo, you might like your food as well. That would include me, I have to say. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers. Yeah, hen dog, that belly you helped me remove and the man boobs, they're back. I'm a bon garfo. Yes, Carl, home 3rd of March after 3 weeks planning son's wedding next June in Algarve. How lovely. Wedding in the Algarve. Fantastic. If you need any help there, let us know. And that sounds wonderful. Great fun. Good decision. Well done, and congratulations to those folks on their engagement. Hola, bon dia, Malta. Hopefully, finalising purchasing an apartment for our daughter this afternoon. How time flies! Yeah, dropping her off at school 1 minute and buying her an apartment the next. How amazing! So for your singles night, nice to see you, Andy. So for your singles night, when do they take off the GMP suit? I think you spelt that wrong. Or is that compulsory throughout the evening? That's a bit rich coming from a man who likes to dress up as a sheep at the weekend. One, or maybe you're not being judgmental. Maybe that's a genuine question. One further, I was around Covent Garden yesterday and had 4G service. Outrageous! That's an infringement of your human rights, Turner. I rarely have that problem in Portugal, even in the most rural areas. Yeah, well, we're way up to speed, aren't we, with those sorts of connections? Best of luck, Andy. What a great achievement setting her off on her first step on the ladder. How lovely. My internet in the Coup de Judas is far better than anywhere I ever lived in London. Yeah. Don't think my son will be leaving anytime soon, though. Very good. He knows where his bread's buttered. 5-star service, good Airbnb review at home. Yes, this is where it got to me talking about that situation last night. Morning, Neil. We played your lovely video, the Lavaduras con Alma, or de Alma. Really nice. Thank you for mentioning that, suggesting that this morning. And that view from your window, were you expecting something a bit different this morning? On the highways, you must note the number on the road so they can find you, even if you have easily identifiable landmarks. Note them as you drive. Very good. What an exciting and a mixed emotion day for you. Great stuff. If the drivers were young, they probably were not allowed to have so many passengers. Is that right? Have you got a limit on the amount of youngsters you can have in the car with you? With that, I think that comment there about a mixed emotion day is about the for the Porky Feet there and the new apartment. Bagpipes are part of the common Portuguese and Celtic heritage. The Marmite instrument, actually a few aren't there? The banjo, the accordion, and the bagpipes. Not everyone's cup of tea, but my goodness, all of them, all those three, all very evocative. And I would say certainly the bagpipes, part of the Celtic heritage with the roots in Italo Celtic language, from which is bagpipe an Italian word, which Romance and Celtic languages originate. Cornish cadar is Portuguese cadeira, chair. Yeah, okay, very good. Very French food yesterday. Onion soup, followed by a duck cassoulet. Went well with red wine. I hope you managed to squeeze in an "Oi, garçon" during that service. New president, hopefully an improvement. Are you not keen on Marcelo? Then we'll talk about him. I've been talking so much. We're going to get to very few of the things I mentioned earlier on, but there's nothing new in that, right? Hola, bon dia to you, Denise. Lovely to see you. Shrinkflation, that's the word. Nubinet's here as well. Good morning to you. Shrinkflation, where the price stays the same. Oh, that's good. Price of butter staying the same, but actually it's a stick now, not a pat of butter. London Transport Museum near Covent Garden, well worth a visit. Yes, best when Piccadilly line working well. Oh, those were the days. My mum lives near Barons Court, one of the District and Piccadilly line stations. I know that line well. Was there on fatal referendum day, 23rd of June 2016. Covent Garden, Adrian, memories of Covent Garden there. Oh, that ain't what it used to be. But then again, what is? Let's have a look at what Marcelo's been up to then. And we've thank you for your picture over at this morning over at the Portugal Club, and delighted to share with you from back in the day when we used to do the Portuguese point of interest, some Setúbal videos for Debbie. I hope your guests and visitors enjoy those over there. Barak, yes, I'll make that introduction for you. I need to do that, don't I? President Marcelo stepping out of the politics and his commentary thereupon. Marcelo says, that's it, folks. That's all, folks. No more political commentary from me. And there had to be a point where he did that. I think Natasha, and I'll talk to her about this at 9:30. I think she thinks he might be copping out. I think she generally speaks of him favorably. It's not an easy job. It's the most important job politically, I suppose, in Portugal in many ways, to be that guardian of the constitution and to be a grandfatherly figure. Portugal's two-term head of state comes to an end on end of mandate on March the 9th. There you go. And that's the picture. That characterizes him for me. We've got a picture that Philomena took of him with her at was it in Tomar, I think, is the Tabuleiros. But that's how he'll be remembered, I think, in selfies with people smiling away like that. Yesterday, Marcelo said he will no longer be commenting on national or international affairs. It's the time to be silent and leave that to who is taking on the decisive role. The president-elect of Portugal, Antonio José Seguro Marcelo, made his announcement today at BTL. We'll have a look at that as well. The Better Tourism Lisbon travel market, where he was quizzed by journalists on his thoughts of the appointment of former PJ National Director Luís Neves to Minister of Internal Affairs. I'm not going to comment. I am a week away from leaving office, and so it is the moment in which I am exiting the stage. Maybe he doesn't like Senor Neves or doesn't want to get into any trouble in his last week. Marcelo has been readily talking to the press for 10 years, however, and for years before that as a political commentator. He said in recent past that once his mandate is over, he will cease discussing politics publicly altogether. Maybe he'll be just charging a lot of money to have dinner with him, where he'll talk about that. No, that's what British politicians do. I can expect more, I think, from a Portuguese politician. Or is he going to take that British route, American route of charging thousands to talk about politics now? No, he's not in the role. I shouldn't be so cynical. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised. And will he be heading over to... Oh, he's going to America to teach. I don't think he's taking that European soft option and following in the footsteps of Costa. You can make a mess in your own country and then go and work in Europe. That's the pattern, is it not? Marcelo, and before, you can make a mess of your country before. Oh, no, you can work in Europe before making a mess of your country, make a mess of your country, and then go to European Commission and EU. Marcelo arrived at BTL today in the company of José Manuel Bolieiro, the president of the regional government of the Açores, and remained so for most of the visit, particularly at the autonomous region stand. It's such a formal thing, isn't it? I'm here from the autonomous region. And that's where he spent a lot of his time. Maybe looking for a little trip over there to the Açores as well. Imagine Marcelo will be able to go anywhere he darn well pleases, where he has any popularity at all. And I think he'll have fans and friends in most places after that 10-year term. Congratulations on that. All the best to you in your future. That's Good Morning Portugal's official send-off for Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, who we first... he will be one of the first political figures you see when you turn on the telly, or would have been if you've been here for the last few years. Right. Biggest solar eclipse. We talked a little bit about that. Let's do a little bit more on that and give you the date of the event. That's going to be, I think it's the 12th of August, is it not? That's the diamond ring effect. I think some people refer to it as a pearl or diamond ring effect. Portugal will witness a once in a lifetime. And as the days go by, Katie Tunstall coming to Lisbon Soon Music News, prompted there by Once in a Lifetime. Astronomical event, August 12, 2026, the largest total solar eclipse visible in the country in 114 years. Now, 114 years ago, I think people would have been more shocked than they are now. But I imagine the animals will go quiet. It will go all black and whitey, sort of monochromatic. And then you'll be able to see this, possibly, if, as Pete suggested, there isn't a cloud in the way. You'll be able to see this for about 26 seconds, I think it is, or about half a minute, at around 7:30 p.m. So it'll be getting dark anyway. The eclipse will bring 92 and 100% solar coverage across the country. Between 92 and 100% solar coverage across the country, specialists have explained. However, the only place where it will be seen in full with total darkness is in the area of the Montesinho Natural Park in the northeast of Portugal. That will probably be packed then on that day. And night will briefly fall all over the Bragança region, however, at around 7:30 p.m. during the peak of the eclipse. Totality, when the moon completely blocks the sun, like a big pizza pie, that's amore, will last for 26 seconds. You got 26 seconds to go when it goes into the eclipse. How many more songs can I squeeze into this article? Although the overall eclipse will unfold over several minutes, sick reports. In the rest of mainland Portugal and the autonomous regions, there they are again. The eclipse will be partial, but still with very high levels of solar coverage. The last total solar eclipse was in 1912. After 2026, I recommend you, if you want to see this one and not the next one. The next one, with all due respect, not many of us are going to make it to 2144 to see that, unless there's an incredible breakthrough of science, and you can put that on your bucket list. Both things, cryogenic suspension and the next solar eclipse in 2144. According to the US Space Agency, NASA, the eclipse will only be visible along a narrow path crossing Greenland, and I wonder who will own it by then, by August, Iceland, Spain, Russia, and Portugal, placing the country among a small group of locations worldwide where the phenomenon can be observed. Phenomenon. One more song for you there. For the solar eclipse coverage, August the 12th, date for your diary. I think we'll be able to perceive it wherever we are in Portugal, but the best view up in the Bragança district. Don't quote me on that or base your plans on my thoughts about it. I am not a astronomer, meteorologist, virologist, immunologist, etc., etc. Find out, do your own research on that. Right. We've talked about a life support podcast and the Portugal Resident podcast. We'll have a bit of it. We'll come back to the president and do a little bit of a primer on him. But look at this. Have you ever been to this? Are you aware of the BTL, the Better Tourism Lisbon travel market? On your screen now, nice graphics, and it was because of this that the Phil, what's it called? The Ferido Internacional Lisboa. That's the exhibition centre in the Parque das Nações, and one of their great shows of the year is Phil Parque das Nações. The Phil. This is the Better Tourism Lisbon Travel Market 2026. Biggest edition ever. Sounds like fun to go to. You have to pay to get in, though, I think. How much is it? €5. You between what? Oh no, not €5. Hold on a minute. I can't see here. About a fiver, I think. Maybe a little bit more than that. Is that people, youths up to 6? I think it's a fiver to get in, basically. Oh no, public ticket, €8. Bilhete individual público, €8 to get in to see this sort of exhibition. I'm guessing where you might expect to get a few freebies, and maybe that's why. Oh no, that's not the reason why there's a suitcase. It's because it's a tourism show. But you know, those people who turn up at an exhibition with a suitcase to get all the freebies, pens, and what was the last thing we got when we went to that computer show? The pop socket, is it called, that goes on the back of your phone? There'll be lots of those, I suspect, this year. It's the biggest edition ever, with 1,500 exhibitors representing the vast diversity of destinations, cultures, and services present at the event, providing visitors with a unique opportunity to explore the latest trends in global tourism. It is a showcase of Portuguese destinations as well, with over 600 events across 5 days. Wow, what a logistics exercise, if nothing else. BTL is a platform for networking, innovation, and knowledge, featuring a diverse program that includes conferences, workshops, cultural presentations, and interactive experiences. BTL positions itself as a meeting point for tourism businesses, both for professionals and the general public, who take advantage of the BTL days to buy their holidays at exclusive prices. So you can get a bargain on a holiday. Okay, maybe that's why they're charging you so much to get in there. That's quite a lot to get into a Portuguese event, is it not? €8. Not a massive amount of money, to be fair. But anyway, I think Gilda was mentioning to me when I spoke to her recently that she's on her way there. And it will be open today from 10 until 11 tonight. My goodness. Like a Portuguese shopping mall, open till 11. Same again tomorrow, midday opening till 11. And today, if you're a Joe Public, punters can only go in from 5 until 11. So open to the public, general public, and not the professionals, the industry, from 5 this evening, the 27th, February 28th, from midday to midnight. Midday to 11 o'clock. And on March the 1st, Sunday, if you want to go on Sunday down to the Parque das Nações, it will be open from midday until 8 o'clock. Entry is not permitted for anyone under 16 years of age during working hours. Okay, maybe you have to be accompanied by an adult. Okay, weddings, the meeting industry, BTL lab, wine tourism part of it, BTL religious holidays, the BTL village. These are all the little parts of it. BTL cultural, BTL jobs in the tourism industry. I imagine as well. That's where Gilda will be going, perhaps. I don't know. But certainly helping people move to Portugal would be part of her interest there, of course, from 4,000 passports, 4,000 prizes. What's this? The BTL Passport Contest is a BTL initiative sponsored by Top Atlantico, aiming to create memorable experiences for our visitors. Ranging from trips. The prizes range from trips, hotel stays, discount vouchers, travel vouchers, tickets to other trade fairs at the Phil, among others. So lots of freebies by the look of it. 82,000 visitors are expected, and they are visiting 1,600 exhibitors, 600 events, and showcasing 100 international destinations with 300 national and international speakers there as well. So there you go. That's the BTL at the FIL for this year. That crept up quick. I was meant to be. I said to somebody, I'll join you next year. It's already here. Never mind. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get to it this year. Maybe though, the Caldas de Rainha beer festival tonight. A Bombeiros fundraiser where I think we're having Cozida Portuguesa on Sunday and celebrating Josh's birthday here. Man shed Josh. Happy birthday to you. I think it might be next week, but we're celebrating with you tomorrow. What are you up to this weekend? Let me know in a chat. We've only got a few minutes to go. Let's read some more of your comments here. And what was the last one like, Carl? In 1912? Oh, I remember it well. It was in black and white, the whole thing, but then the whole world was at the time, Pete. My cheeky sod. Marcelo showed up at the Anglican Cathedral in Lisbon when the Archbishop of Canterbury came. His security detail consisted of a nice young woman. That's it. Didn't go for the attention, just hung out. Terrific. I think that's what he's been like. And the next one's going to be like that. He's not going to be living in the palace, the Belém Palace. I'll tell you about this in a minute. He is going to stay in Caldas de Rainha, where the family home is, where he's described as a bon garfo. They interviewed a local butcher on the news. What's he like then? He's a nice bloke, easygoing, likes his food. Very good. Good to hear that, Sarah. Thank you very much for that. Phenomenon. Lol, thought I was the only one that did that. Long live the Muppets. No, whenever you hear the word phenomenon, you've got to do that. That's the law. After a certain age or at a certain age. Greens won their first UK parliamentary by-election, electing a lady plumber. Ah, okay. When I saw some of her videos, I thought they were spoof videos. It is the lady plumber has got in, as she, for the Greens. There is a woman on Twitter who does a really good impersonation of Angela Rayner. And I thought it was one of her spoof videos. So this is for real, isn't it? And plasterer, she's a plumber and plasterer with 41% of the vote to reform UK's 29, pushing defending Labour Party into third place on about a bit of a spanking for Labour last night. Then is it called Gorton and Denton? They should have put the Andy Burnham in. They'd have won it. For a better eclipse experience, take a short trip into Galicia or Castile, Leon, etc. in España, as a suggestion from Joao Ernesto. Are you going to be going along and doing that, Joao? I just saw that there is now a woman as the Archbishop of Canterbury for the first time. Is that hot news? Sarah Mullally is now the Archbishop of Canterbury. And now, as of what, today? I wonder. Finally, right? I wonder what her pledges are in the role there. Yes, that I just remember that my whole life long. Haven't there been debates about that possibility for decades and decades? And now we would appear. Yes, as who is it? Hemingway. First slowly and then suddenly. That's how these things work, is it not? I did a little bit of, and I think I've misquoted it again, but I did a little bit of research on where that came from. And it is a description of a man's bankruptcy. How did it happen? Well, very slowly at first, and then very suddenly, gradually, and then suddenly. Right. We're coming up to 9 o'clock. I'll be talking to Natasha Don from the Resident about 3 news items. I think I can give you the heads up on those. A Gumper exclusive on what we'll be talking about tomorrow. She sent me this yesterday. That's why I'm saying that. We're talking about the knives are out for the PSD party as Passos Coelho, I think a former PM, is that right? Wanting to make a comeback. So there's a few old politicians making a comeback at the moment with the precedent set by the president there. A man with a political history and heritage in Portugal, and certainly the hallmarks of Portuguese politics through to his core and now back in the top job. We'll also be talking about the agriculture minister who got a lesson in good manners. That was brilliant. I think that's about his visit to Coimbra, where the mayor, Anya Abruño, is that her name? Anna, anyway, she gave him a telling off because he spoke to the press before he spoke to her. I think that was part of it. And great idea or not so great, police chief turns minister thinks outside the box. An idea pushed by President Marcelo, who has conveniently decided he will no longer speak of anything political. So a police chief turned minister then we'll be talking about in about half an hour. Since January 26th then, for the first female Archbishop of Canterbury, just reading up on her now, was a nurse, only ordained in 2002. That's a quick rise, it seems. Who doesn't like first thing in the morning? Okay, I can't say that. I apologize now. I can't say who doesn't like a female Archbishop of Canterbury first thing in the morning. I was referring to the quick rise, but I'm just getting myself into deeper and deeper trouble. Stop digging, Carl. We booked rooms in Leon near the center of the eclipse over a year ago. Well done, John. Sorry, not John. That's two John from Sarah. That's brilliant. Are you cycling up there as well? Sarah, Team Yeoman, the rooms were already so scarce that only twin beds were available. Wow. Okay, so it's selling out fast. I thought you might still have a chance now with it being in August and this being Portugal, but no, maybe people are flying in from all over the world actually and have booked those rooms up. Very good. Okay, quickly then, your Portuguese presidential primer. He is 63 years old, is Senor Antonio José Seguro, and he was born in Penamacor in Portugal, and of course won this most recent 2026 election. 67% of the vote in the runoff, having achieved 31%, the highest polling figure in the first round, but that took us to the second round because nobody got 50%. That's how it works, and managed to get 67% with putting Andre Ventura into a cocked hat or MAGA hat, possibly. Am I using that term right, a cocked hat? His term begins on March the 9th and will run until March 2031. A lot's going to happen, I think, in the world and in Portugal between now and 2031. Succeeding Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, who had 2 terms in the job, which are renewable once and consecutively, so Seguro could go on to be in power until 2036. Seguro, longtime PS member and former Secretary General between 2011 and 2014, has held roles including Deputy Prime Minister previously here in Portugal, Government Minister, Member of the European Parliament, a parliamentary leader, and also a university lecturer in international relations. Married to Margarida since 2001, 2 children, and maintains a low-key family life in Caldas Serrania as his primary residence, using the Belém Palace mainly for official duties. His salary is around 8 grand a month. He'll go home with around 6 grand a month. I imagine it's a nice, gross potentially over 11 grand with expenses, but netting for a wage around 6,000. He is known as a centrist politically, unifying style. He's credited with, he received cross-party endorsements, including from the Conservatives, and emphasizes legal, organized, and integrated immigration. That's his stance for us foreigners: legal, organized, and integrated. The election occurred, of course, amid the storms and recent crises politically and meteorologically. However, there was a big turnout for him, bigger than 2021. And it looks like it was a victory. It's been heralded as a preference for stability, unity, and moderation over populism. He holds key powers, finally, like vetoing legislation, dissolving parliament in exceptional cases, appointing the prime minister. I nearly read that as anointing the prime minister post-election, and serving as a constitutional check and unifying figure, especially in a crisis. Well, good luck to you, Antonio Seguro, taking the role of president proper on March the 9th. There's your facts and figures for the new president. Right. Yeah, Panama Vegas, Panama Call. That's where he was born. That's where he comes from. I imagine it's changed quite a lot since he was more white vans, dogs on strings over there. And from Joao to you, Sarah, just push those twin beds together. Et voila, you have yourself a king-size bed. Yeah, a couple of bungee ropes maybe, just to keep them together during the night. Not suggesting casting aspersions or anything. Just the first thing that came to my head, or some straps. On that note, tension straps is what. Oh, I learned yesterday bed bugs are the tensioning devices when there used to be ropes on beds to hold the mattress, the straw or feather filled mattress in place, apparently. So sleep type, don't let the bed bugs bite, was where the ropes cross. You could get a nasty pinch off the bed bugs, which are not creepy crawlies, but the technology used to tension the bed. The things you learn here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Have a great weekend. Wishing you a bon fin semana. Thank you for your company this morning. Hope I've eased you gently into the weekend, and we'll look forward to I look forward to being together again with you on Monday. Take care. Bye for now. Oh yeah, Wine Club on Monday as well. Yep, Teja, até a próxima. Adiós e bom fim de semana. Ciao, ciao.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts.